The very last of the new heroes is finally released, and while he unfortunately isn't my super adorable cat named Apollo, he is another hero that comes with some very interesting mechanics. Apollo is another hero that is very movement-based, although not as much as Celeste because, well, no one is, and he has a few neat mechanics that rely on timing. Before we get into the abilities, if you were wondering if he was only melee due to him holding a sword, wonder no longer. He does have a quote-unquote gun, as seen here, and it actually feels pretty nice to use, but it is a bit different than some other guns. Let's get on to the abilities. His first ability is called Disengaging Sigil. He draws a sigil in front of him and then leaps away from it as it explodes. It does damage and slows down enemies. The upgrades for this ability are 1. 30 damage straight up, 2. Plus 20% fire rate and plus 50% bullet speed for 10 seconds, and 3. On a player hit, he gets plus 2 stamina restored and it resets his air jump and dash limit. His second ability, called Riposte, might seem a bit familiar if you're someone who buys Counterspell a lot. That's basically what it is, except it works on pretty much anything. Apollo prepares to deflect the next attack. Attack meaning ability, simple weapon damage, or of course, ultimates. If he successfully deflects anything at all, he becomes invulnerable and then dashes forward and stuns an enemy and reduces their bullet resist. This ability really does work on basically anything, from tiny little minion shots to almost all ultimates. This Redditor posted a test of every ult, and I think it counted basically everything except the Dynamo ults. So it's actually probably easier to say what he doesn't counter than what he does, but even that would take a while. Just try it against every single ability that gets thrown at you, honestly. This may seem absurdly strong, and maybe it is, but keep in mind it's difficult to do in the heat of battle. I can imagine, in fact it's already happened in my own games, times when Apollo players mean to counter an ultimate, but accidentally counter a smaller ability or even regular gun damage. This happened in a game of mine, where an Apollo player was trying to counter my Wraith ultimate, and then actually only countered my card, so my ultimate still caught up to him and slammed them down, and I was able to get the kill. Two other things to note. The parry will work even if your back is turned, so it's completely 360 viable, and you can also use this ability as an escape. Successfully parry, but with your camera quickly swiveled, and he'll dash away instead of toward if you're trying to, of course, run away from someone. The upgrades for Riposte: 1. Minus 7 second cooldown, 2. Minus 15% bullet resistance, and 3. It adds a 1.2 second stun duration. His third ability is named Flawless Advance. He performs 3 lunges that pierce through enemies. This is done no matter what if you use the ability, but the real damage comes from holding the ability button and hitting the correct timing, so when the circle reduces to the size of the target circle as seen here. You deal maximum damage if you hit the timing correctly, but note that you still do more damage if you hold it and miss the window than if you just use it immediately. Just wanted to highlight that the lunges do not come all at once. They don't come immediately after each other. You actually kind of control when he does all 3 lunges. So basically you try to use one and then your opponent's not in position. You can maneuver around while still holding on to the second and third lunge. You do still have to use the lunges within a certain amount of time as you activate the ability, which is why you might see some Apollos seemingly waste a lunge doing nothing. And it's because if they don't, then they'd actually just lose all of the lunges. So it's better to try and use them and continue using all 3, even if there maybe isn't someone or something in your field of vision, because maybe there eventually will be. So the upgrades for this ability: 1. Perfect hit on a hero heals Apollo for 35. 2. Minus 10 second cooldown and increased lunge speed. And 3. Plus 75 perfect damage and increased spirit scaling. It also increases the lunge attacking dash distance. His ultimate is called Etano lo Son, which I totally nailed. It's a made-up language anyway. And it translates to I have no equal, which is a very Apollo-like. Apollo charges up and then performs a long-range slash. Enemies hit by it are cursed and stuck in slow motion for a bit, and then they take damage. If they're half health or below, they take bonus damage. Note that this ability can be in the charge-up animation indefinitely, so you can take your time, to a degree, don't die while using it, to actually get a good ultimate. The upgrades for the ultimate are: 1. 8-meter dash range addition, 2, minus 40-second cooldown, and 3, plus 40% base damage to the ability. So now that we've gone over all the abilities, I want to note that all of his abilities can be performed from the air, which isn't exactly news. Tons of abilities can be performed by the air, but it's noteworthy for Apollo because so many of his abilities have movement tied to them, or even do air stops. His ultimate is obviously a big use case of this, as you can jump into a fight with a better survey of the situation before actually using the ult. He can also use the ult on the ground to go up, chasing after the likes of a Vindicta or Grey Talon very effectively. It's just a coincidence that Apollo follows Celeste in the voting order, but it's like they saved the high skill ceiling heroes for a back-to-back debut. Not to say Rem or Silver or whatever players are the same from Initiate to Ascendant or what have you, but I think you know what I mean. Celeste is already proving to be incredibly powerful due to not only her abilities, which have already been nerfed a couple of times, but also her movement, which also has had to be nerfed a little bit. Apollo doesn't get the stamina or bunny hopping of Celeste, sure, but all of his abilities have movement and thus really high potential to those who understand his kit on a deep level. Clearly, his riposte will also reward those who have either already practiced heavily with Counterspell or simply have played enough Deadlock to actually predict important ability usage. I actually managed to grab Apollo on Friday, which is big news. I played him, we lost the game, but even with the loss, I can tell you that Apollo does feel really satisfying to play. The movements that you can do with him, the actual hitting of the perfect timing with his ability is really nice. He can feel like he does a lot of damage and be very powerful in team fights, and just all around is a character that I could see myself actually using quite a bit in the future. I like him better than Celeste, but I know a lot of people are still very happy with what Celeste has given them as far as her mobility. Apollo is, similar as far as, there's a lot of movement, but definitely different from Celeste, and I think a lot of you will like using Apollo in-game. So what are your thoughts on Apollo? The community seems to be tumbling over itself in excitement for the character's potential, and I'm kind of on board. I think we're going to continue seeing better and better players and better plays with Apollo as the game continues to develop. I mean, this is the type of character that 2 years from now, someone will figure something out and it'll become the new standard, and we won't believe how poorly we were using many of the characters, but Apollo as well, back in the day, so it's definitely going to continue improving the whole game, but also the use of these characters. Personally, I find his aesthetic and kit to be more in line with my taste, as I said, so absolutely, I will continue using a token on him, despite not having voted for him. Sorry, Apollo guys, but soon enough, all the characters will be old news, and you can actually main whoever you want to main, so don't hold it against me. Thanks for watching as always, and I hope to see you in a game of Deadlock. Bye-bye.